Hello, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing something a little bit different. So it is early in the morning. It is like 7:45 and I wanted to hop on here and react to the Goodreads Choice Award nominees for 2023. So if you're familiar with the app Goodreads, every year they do a popularity contest basically where people can vote on what they think are the best books of the year. And I think we all know that the Goodreads Choice Awards does not dictate whether or not a book is a good book, whether or not it's, good literature. It's more of just how many people are aware of this book, how many people read this book and like it. So I think we all know that it doesn't actually mean anything per se, but it is kind of fun. I enjoy voting every year and looking at the nominees and just kind of postulating on and just making educated guesses based on what I think will win, what I hope might win. So we're gonna go through these together. I have not peeked yet, I have not looked, and we're gonna see what the nominees are for this year. So I have my iPad here and I am going to share the screen with you. We're gonna vote in the opening round. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They have 15 categories this year, which I think is different from the past. I'll have to look back and see what the previous categories were. So let's start with fiction. Oh, by the way, over here on the left, they have the voting schedule. So they have, the opening round, and then they'll have a final round. They'll take some out, and then they'll have just a couple. They'll eliminate some, and then you'll vote on those, and then the winners will be announced December 7th. So it's crazy how quickly it's coming up. All right, so let's start with fiction. Okay. So best fiction. So right now I'm not seeing much that I have read, but I'm seeing things that I have seen other people read. So I see Big Swiss. I know that was an Aardvark book, and I feel like that's a pretty common thing that Aardvark and Book of the Month picks are often in here just because they tend to be sent out to a larger range of people. And I think people who receive Book of the Month and Aardvark are more likely to pick books out of their comfort zone than if they were just walking through Barnes and Noble picking up a new release. So we have Big Swiss, I think it's Mame or Mame, The Wishing Game, Hello Beautiful, Yellow Face, The Collected Regrets of Clover, the Alice Hoffman book, Shark Heart. Those are all that I saw on different subscription books. And then we have Pineapple Street. I think my friend Jordan read that. And then Ellen Hilderbrand. I'm not surprised by that. I feel like Ellen Hilderbrand books are often on here. And then Anne Patchett. So nothing on here that I have read. I was interested in Yellowface, but I haven't heard a whole lot of great reviews about it from people that read similarly to me. So I think I might pass on it. So yeah, nothing on here that I have read or am interested in. So I'm actually not going to vote in that category. And then moving on to historical fiction. Hopefully there's some things here that I recognize. And nope, I'm not really seeing a whole lot. So a lot of these I haven't even heard of. River Sing Me Home, I am interested. I do need to look at that. The Keeper of Hidden Books, that sounds like something that I would like to read. The Secret Book of Flora Lee, I just watched Krista from Books and Jams, her weekend vlog, reading that, and it does look interesting. I might look into that one a little bit more. Hang the Moon by Jeanette Walls. I do have that on my shelf. So I have that one on my shelf. I just haven't read it yet. The House of Eve by Sadika Johnson. I do want to read that one. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So I'm kind of disappointed in this category. I feel like a lot of these are not the type of historical fiction that I read, and usually I've heard of most of the books in the categories, and I haven't heard of a lot of these. Did you hear about Kitty Carr and Wayward and Lady Tan's Circle of Women, and I think The Secret Book of Flora Lee were all Book of the Month picks, and I think The House of Eve was an Aardvark pick. So kind of a bummer that I also haven't read. Oh, and then of course Kristen Harmel's in there, but kind of a bummer that I haven't read anything in that category, and I consider historical fiction to be one of my favorite genres. Whoops. Moving on. Okay, here's where I've read some. So the first thing I see is Happiness Falls by Angie Kim. I did not like that book. All the Dangerous Things. Sometimes people are might say well, All the Dangerous Things came out technically in 2022, but I believe it goes November to October, I believe. So I think that like November and December of 2022 books are included in this as well. The only one left, of course, Riley Sager is in there. The Housemaid's Secret, I read the first one, I haven't read the second one yet. Bright Young Women, I DNF'd. None of this is true, I'm not surprised that's in here. The Villa, I'm not surprised that's in here, although I didn't like it. I have some questions for you, I'm kind of interested. I mean, I've read that one, but I'm kind of intrigued why this is in here. William Kent Krieger I thought was historical fiction, so that kind of surprises me that it's in the thriller category. And then, of course, S.A. Cosby, of course, Richard Osman. None of these are really surprises to me. What Lies in the Woods, I liked that one. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to vote for in that category. All right, romance. I've read a couple of these, thankfully. I feel like this is not going very well. You Again, I saw was a book of the month pick. Catherine Center, I'm not surprised that's in here. The Lauren Asher, you know, like none of these are really a surprise to me. I think that the one that I have read, I think is the only one. Well, no, I've read two. I've read Happy Place and Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, but I did not like Happy Place at all. But I loved Yours Truly, so that's the only one that I would potentially vote for. Okay, Romantasy, we're just gonna go straight through this because I don't read these, but I'll leave them here on the screen for a second if you're interested. Assistant to the Villain, I've heard some things about that. Fourth Wing, duh. Like, everybody knows that Fourth Wing is gonna win, so I don't know why they even bothered having a category for this. Everybody knows Fourth Wing is gonna win. Fantasy, again, kind of just gonna glaze right on through this. The Travis Baldree books are pretty popular. Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. I didn't think that was fantasy, but what do I know? I know nothing about fantasy. And then, of course, V.E. Schwab. So I don't know what's gonna win this one. Probably Hellbent, I would imagine. Sci-fi. I have actually read something on here. Whoops. So The Ferryman by Justin Cronin is what I've read from this. I've actually heard pretty good things about The Light Pirate. I don't know that I would read it. Same thing with The Marriage Act. Why is The Marriage Act in sci-fi? Oh, I guess because it's like a kind of like a dystopian world. I need to look into that more. But and In the Lives of Puppets, to me, I wouldn't think right off the bat that it'd be sci-fi. I would think it would be fantasy. So yeah, only read The Ferryman, didn't really enjoy it. So again, probably won't vote in that category. And then horror. So I have read September House, so there's one that I have read. Don't have any interest in Grady Hendrix. Don't have any interest in most of these, except for maybe Holly. And I am interested in The Reformatory because it's about an old asylum, or like obviously an old reformatory. So that one I am interested in, by Tanner Dew. So that one I might try to read. But other than that, I've only read The September House in this category and didn't really enjoy it. But I do recognize a lot of these. Oh, I also read Lone Women and didn't like it. But I do recognize most of these in the horror category. Adult fantasy and sci-fi. I recognize Foxglove. I hear people talking about that. Divine Rivals, I feel like will probably win this category. I feel like that's been everywhere, and like non-sci-fi readers have been watching it, or I mean, reading it. Best young adult fiction. Oh, The Alley Hazelwood. Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. I've heard a lot of good things about. And then, of course, Holly Jackson and Karen McManus. I do like Holly Jackson. I haven't read Five Survive yet, but I just saw my friend Jordan from the channel Sorry But Solid. She posted a reading vlog reading it, and it seems interesting, so I might actually look into it. And then Immortality, I feel like that's like a duology. I feel like the first one already came out, right? Okay, debut novel. This is another one that I'm always interested in. So we have September House that I've read, and it looks like that's it. But I recognize most of these. The only ones that I don't recognize are In Memoriam, and I Keep My Exoskeletons for Myself, and One Summer in Savannah. Those are the only ones that I feel like I haven't seen or heard of at all. But other than the September House, none that I've read. And I feel like that's another kind of curveball that throws off some of these, is that sometimes people will vote just for the one book that they've read in that category, even if they didn't really like it. So then it kind of like sways it, you know. So it's more so a matter of how many people have read this book, how many people are aware of it, like how much has it been advertised and pushed out to the masses. Okay, nonfiction. I feel like oftentimes I've read something in here too, but I'm finding that I'm not doing a good job with reading like the current books this year, but I also have so many books on my shelf. So that's why I'm really trying to get down my physical TBR so that I can focus on reading more new releases like this. I have read a book by Roxane Gay, and I do plan on reading more. So that's one I would, I need to look into. But other than that, don't see many that I would necessarily be interested in. Memoir, okay. All right, so Counting the Cost, I did read and I did love. Honestly, let's be real, Spare by Prince Harry is gonna win this. Just because of like the amount of interest that it had. I do want to read Thicker Than Water by Kerry Washington, because I do like her, and I have liked her shows that she's been in. I did not read the Ginger Duggar-Volo book, and I don't plan on it, but Counting the Cost was really good, and I did give it 5 stars. Other than that, I don't recognize, I mean, Pamela Anderson, but I don't really recognize a whole lot of them. History and biography. So again, nothing that I've really read. I see a book about Elon Musk. Book about Martin Luther King Jr. Valiant Women. I wonder what that's about. That sounds interesting. The Confidant. So yeah, definitely some that look like they would be really worth reading. I need to go back through after this and like actually look into these books and see which of these I would actually want to read. Humor, probably not going to be anything on here that I'm interested in. I don't really read any humor or like watch like skit humor or anything, or comedians. Unless it's Whose Line Is It Anyway? I watch that, but anything else, no. And that's the last one. Interesting. So I'm kind of underwhelmed, but then again, I guess if I haven't really read a whole lot of them, but I feel like there's been way more new releases that I have learned about this year and heard about that are not anywhere on here. And then there's a lot that I didn't even hear of. But I also know I'm kind of in this niche like booktube world, and I know that like the actual world reads pretty differently than booktube world, right? I was having this conversation with my friends who are all in book clubs, and just like the amount of books that they have read that they think everybody has read, but then they go to these book club meetings and not a single person there has read it. And, you know, we kind of forget that we're in this little niche, and we talk about a lot of the same books, but the general population doesn't necessarily all just read, you know, Colleen Hoover and Verity, although a lot of people do read Verity, but you know, like Taylor Jenkins Reid and Lucinda Berry, and you know, people that we talk about a lot. So anyways, thanks for looking at these with me. It's gonna be interesting to see what the next round looks like. Maybe I'll do another one of these if we liked them. Let me know, should I do another round of this? Let me know in the comments down below. Were you surprised by anything on here? Were you overwhelmed? Were you underwhelmed? What were your thoughts when you first saw everything in this first round? Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.